Okay, Jason Mumo, JM on the fly. And today I got a Sand Eel imitation, JM Sand Eel, tied very similar to my Mass Marauder pattern. We're going to tie this, however, on an SS-15 Gamakatsu 1/0. And it's just a longer shank hook, but we got plenty of material to use because this is such a long eel pattern. And it's imitating a sand eel. Well, let me show you how we tie that. I'm using an SS-15 Gamakatsu 1/0 hook. Because this is one thing I use pretty much only in salt water. Represents the sand eels that live in a lot of the back bays and even in the oceans. All over the place. Down in Florida where I fish, and up in Rhode Island where I do a lot of fishing. We'll start our thread. Pretty much cover the shank of the hook. But our tying is going to start back just a little bit. I don't want anything to come past, like, that's the width of the eye there. If you have two more eyes, I don't want anything to come past this point or further front, because I need to get this mask on. And there's a top and a bottom to these masks. You see this? There's more weight at the top. That's the way it goes on. So the weight's to the bottom. So when that goes on, the weight will be to the bottom. You can look at the front of that. You can see there's more material here, and it's heavier. So we use that in for weight at the bottom, combination with the hook shank or the hook bend. Anyway, let's tie this. We're going to take a couple of feathers, grizzly, saddle hackles. I'm going to line up the tips like this, just so they're close. And I'm going to hold and strip them. Got them. So we prepared a couple feathers, just like that. You know, you can tie them in together, but we'll tie them in one at a time. We're going to do one on your side of the hook. See how that's laying. We'll work our way up and back, just like that. So we got one laid on that side, and the other we're going to lay on my side. Again, easy to wrap. Beautiful. They lay in there really nice. Touch this a hair. Just put a little bit of glue there to lock them in. Take a little bit of crystal flash. What you got there looks like 4 or 5 fibers. That'll work out great. Just gonna kind of pull and tug at them and make them a little uneven, just so the tips aren't all at the same spot. That's all I really care about. Yeah, so it's staggered a little bit. Gonna put them in so they're longer than feathers I had just tied in. I'm going to tie them in right on top, like that. And just fold the excess over and just let that in. It's not going to hurt anything except for add flash to the inner body of the fly. Come back to that tying point that I said that's about 2 eyes back from the tip. And we're going to go with, this is an SF and EP fiber that I have. There's a little bit of SF in here, a little bit of EP fiber. You can use pretty much anything you want, whatever colors and however you want your eels to look like, shape-wise. I like this olive color. I like the white with the olive, so that's just me. It's what I do. And we're going to take that and we will tease out some fibers that way, and we'll tease out some fibers this way. It's the same mustache that I'm making when I do the Mass Marauder. It gets a lot longer because what I do is I take a piece of that material and cut it in half instead of thirds like I do for the Mass Marauder. And you can see you end up with a nice long piece of, just like a Mass Marauder. We're going to tie this away and down and near and down. And this is really when you could put this, wrap this front just so you get about the 2 eyes there, like that. Okay, so that should pretty much look like that. Going to do the same thing now on the Mass Marauder. We use 3 different layers, which you can do, but for this eel I use 2. I come in with my darker colors, and I blended a kind of a dark tan with an olive, or a darker olive, and just mixing them together gives me the look that I want for my eels. You can see, of course, what they'll look like when they're done. Okay, there's the colors that we got. Then you take that and you do the same thing. We're going to pull out a mustache, get a little bit of both colors in that for this side, just to start. Reach down and get a few colors of both sides for this way. And again, tapering. So we end up with a nice mustache. If we think we're a little short here or there, we can steal some from one side to another side. That looks pretty good there. That looks pretty good there. We're ready to tie this in. Work our way right back up. Right over the top of the white wraps, or the underbody. So you can see exactly what we did there. We got a nice little wrap like that. Again, keep these all in play. I'm gonna add a lineup of tips on these feathers, just so they're close. And we're going to add a few more saddles. These saddles I want to be as long or longer than the longest piece on here. So I'm going to tie these things in just like this. I don't really care about what angle or direction I have them. I just want to make sure that I have them on the dead top. Snip the excess. Again, run through this, pull out anything extra, let that sit, take our fingers, make a whip finish right over top of this, going around them long fibers. Could be a little bit of a challenge if you're not used to it, but you'll figure it out. Either way, tie that off. It's not that important how hard that is, because again, it gets glued just like the Masked Marauder pattern. This basically is my Masked Marauder pattern. It's just using some feathers and some things to make it look more eel looking. Then take a piece of foam. This is 1/4 inch foam. And I'm cutting a piece, maybe a 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch square. When it's all said and done, you're going to take your scissors, and we will put that just like a Masked Marauder, where you have that right there, but not through the top. Okay, so you're snipping it straight through, but not through the top. Snip it. Take your glue, super glue gel. Let's get a bead right up on top there like that. We're going to take our foam and come right down over the top and mash that in. We're going to divide our hair and put that in so it entrains the head. Put our fibers or our feathers right down the back. Push that head together and make it look like something, just like that. We're going to go back to our glue right here. We're going to put a nice little glue head, or a little bit of glue right on the head here, into the shank, into the base, even underneath, like this. Get that soaked with glue. Grab our helmet, make sure we're putting it on the right way. Remember, the heavier weight down. And we are going to push that back like that to where we could see a little bit of the shank. Okay? See a little bit of that shank. That's going to give me a little hump head, which I don't really like, so I'm just going to hold that down. And I can get rid of that in no time. We're going to finish off tying this head in so it can't hurt us. Pile of ramps. Again, take your glue. I'm going to rub it on the line. Whatever excess glue is on there is fine. Now we're going to wrap that right tight to the thing. You can see it building up. That's what you want. You don't want that to come off. Nice whip finish. And that is that. Take a little bit of glue here. I'm going to put it right here. On there, and I'm going to put this down. And I'm going to force that flat so that does not dry with a hump on it. That I don't want. It doesn't hurt anything. I just don't like it. Again, just working that in. I get trim if a little fiber comes up. I'm not worried about the fiber. I do want that flat like that. I'd rather not see that, not allow that to hump up. It's getting closer. This super glue gel, once it gets to the point of sticking, that's it. You may have to stay here a second, but that's it. It'll stay like that now. And that is the eel. We're gonna simply put eyes on it and soft tex it. I'll show you that in our next step. I'm trying not to make this crazy, but a little dab there, a little dab here. Grab ourselves an eye. Place it on there. Put a little eye on that side, put a little eye on this side. Normally I wait till I have them all tied and I'll put all the eyes on a dozen of them or so. And then I also soft tex a dozen of them or so at the same time. Okay. Gonna take this little fly like this and we're gonna comb it out. Okay. Now, let me take this and comb it out. You see how beautiful this fly is. And try and keep these feathers right up on top, like that. I'm going to put this in my vise, like this, and now I can work with it. If I get a hold of these two feathers, which I would like to stay on top, at least for the gluing part. Once they're in the water, I really don't care what they do. Little trick. You take your little clamp and put them on them two feathers, and just the weight keeps them taut on the back side. Okay, everything else is entrained in there. We're going to take our soft tex, we'll open that up, set that right here. Little dab right in the belly and down the back. With this side, with this side. The soft tex is really the key to this fly. Keeps everything together so it doesn't foul. Come past the hook, past the bend of the hook, so everything stays nice, and you can fold them fibers in just like that. And allow that thing to dry just like that. When you're all said and done, you end up with a beautiful sand eel that's ready to fish. You can see how this pretty much can't foul. No matter what you do, this can't come around. Should never say never with fly fishing. It could definitely do it, but for the most part, it's very hard to foul. And this thing will just bounce around, do the hoot. Nice weighted helmet. Helmet goes, that's going to keep going down and give you that eel look, as this whole thing, basically when it's fished, basically looks like an eel or a snake, coming through the water. So that is the JM Sand Eel. And it's tied in a Mass Marauder type of way, almost like my Mass Marauder. Jam on the fly, and I am out of here.